50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
What's going on, guys? T-Mart here, and holy cow, I will never ever forget that clip. That's one of the most iconic video game intros of all time. Thumbs up if you guys remember it. But anyway, so today, as I'm sure you guys can tell, we are going to be talking about the Modern Warfare Remaster, and I've actually got some fantastic news for you guys. So a lot of people, myself included, have been kind of curious and a little bit concerned as to how close to the original Call of Duty 4 this remaster is going to end up being. Like, what exactly are they going to be changing? Is it just the graphics, or are they going to change some of the gameplay mechanics, move perks around, stuff like that? Well, we finally have an answer. So in a recent interview, Activision confirmed it's going to stay very, very true to Call of Duty 4. They said, and I quote, "Meanwhile, the game itself will remain true to the original in terms of gameplay, guns, kill streaks, and so forth. Maps and modes will remain unchanged mechanically, even while the game itself will look remarkably better." So that's fantastic news. Like, it sounds like they aren't going to be messing with anything on the gameplay front. You know, guns, kill streaks. They didn't necessarily mention perks, but it's kind of, you know, alluded to when they say and so forth. They're not going to be doing any weapons balancing. They're not going to be changing anything in terms of the way the game was originally played. They're just going to be updating the graphics on the game, which is fantastic. That's the best news I've heard. The worst thing they could do is change the way it originally played. Like, that would piss off so many people, you know what I mean? So I'm really, really glad they are going to be doing that, and I thought it'd be kind of fun because I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't even played this game, or for some of you guys, this could be a trip down memory lane. We could go through and check out all the weapons and all the perks and stuff like that in this game. So we're here on the created class screen of Call of Duty 4, and this is my M16A4 class, baby. Oh my gosh, I missed this game so much. So if we go through the weapons, there are 5 different classes of weapons. You got ARs, submachine guns, light machine guns, shotguns, and snipers. In the assault rifle category, we have the M16, which was one of the 2 most popular ARs in the game. We had the M16, the AK-47 was definitely the second most popular. The M4 was a pretty good weapon. It's a little bit weaker though, and it doesn't kill nearly as quickly as some of the other ones, so that's why people didn't really use it. The G3 was a single fire, you know, kind of like marksman rifle in a sense. It was pretty powerful and very, very popular with modded controllers. Then we had the G36C, which I feel like was one of the least popular weapons in the game. It was still fun to use. The M14 was another single shot weapon. You couldn't shoot it quite as fast, but it was more powerful. And then finally we had the MP44, which was a throwback weapon from back in like the World Wars. And this one you actually, interesting enough, couldn't put any attachments on. You can't put anything on it, which is weird. So, you know, I don't know, it's a little bit different. Next up, moving into the SMGs, all hail the King MP5. Holy cow, this is what started it. We've had so many MP5s in Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4, but none of them have ever lived up to the hype of the COD4 MP5. This thing was a monster with a red dot sight on it. It was absolutely incredible. Next up, we've got the Scorpion. This one was kind of a niche weapon. Like, some people really, really liked the Scorpion. I'm not quite sure why. I didn't like it that much. It wasn't a bad gun, but it just wasn't as good as some of the other selections we have here, in my opinion. Mini Uzi was probably the least popular SMG out of all of them. The 74U was very good, and then the P90 was extremely, extremely good. Throw the silencer on there. You've got that high magazine capacity. This thing absolutely melted, and it was a fantastic choice for a stealth class. Next up, we've got our LMGs. The LMGs in COD 4 were actually a lot of fun to use. The M249, I would say, was, you know, probably the least popular. I don't know. I didn't really like it as much. RPD was by far my favorite LMG in the game. This thing absolutely wrecked. A lot of people used it with the red dot sight, which was pretty good, but I personally used it with grip. If you could get used to the iron sights, this thing was a laser beam and very, very powerful. And then finally, we have the M60E4. This one had quite a bit of recoil and it shot a little bit slower, but it was very, very powerful and really packed a punch. Next up for shotguns, we had 2 shotguns, the W12000 and the M1014. This is a pump action. I feel like it was kind of, I don't know, shotguns weren't really that popular. I couldn't even tell you which one was more popular. I know I used the M1014 more, but I do remember seeing a lot of people use the W12000 as well. So we had 2 options there. And then finally, for the sniper rifles, COD 4 snipers were what just started sniping on YouTube and the entire sniping community. M40A3 is one of the best bolt actions of all time. A lot of people put that ACOG scope on it, and I mean, like, think of Zergriz with the G-Shot tutorial on Crossfire and stuff like that. My goodness, what a throwback. The M21 was a semi-auto rifle. it actually wasn't that bad. It was still pretty powerful. Didn't get too many hit markers. Dragunov was a hit marker machine. Not a lot of people used it. R700 is the other bolt action sniper rifle, but it has 4 shots. And it's, you know, kind of like before you had to fully reload it. So it wasn't quite as good, wasn't quite as popular, I'm sorry. And then finally, we have the Barrett 50 cal, a semi-auto sniper, which was very, very powerful and another very popular weapon in the game and on YouTube. So that wraps it up for the primary weapons. We also have sidearms here. So the M9, the USP45, the M1911, all cool, but none of them match up to the Deagle, baby. The Deagle and the Gold Desert Eagle, my goodness. Oh, such an iconic weapon. I can't wait to see that thing in HD, especially the gold one. That's going to be so exciting. And then for grenades, it actually worked a lot different than it does today. So everybody had a frag. Everybody had a frag grenade. There's no choice of like frag versus Simtex versus trip mine versus all the other bullshit we haven't called it now. It was just, you had a frag grenade. That was it. You could choose your special grenade. You had 3 options: flash, stun, or smoke. Super, super simple. I feel like that's what made this game so popular and so successful, is because it was so simple. There wasn't, you know, all this random BS shock charges and that kind of thing. It was a simple game, which is kind of cool. Moving on to perk number 1, we've got C4 times 2. Shout out to White Boy. He used this a lot. I didn't really see a lot of C4 use in this game. Special grenades times 3 wasn't bad. That wasn't a bad choice for your first perk, but it wasn't popular. RPGs weren't really that great. Sometimes if you could hit choppers with them, they'd take them out pretty quickly, but that's about it. Claymores were actually pretty popular. A lot of people use Claymores. Frag times 3 was probably the most popular choice for the first perk slot, because frags in this game were absolute nukes, and that is one thing I'm interested to see if they end up changing. The COD4 frag grenades were incredible. The kill radius on those things were just, it was absolutely insane. Like it was overpowered. It was not balanced. So I'm curious to see if they're going to leave it like it was, or if they're going to nerf them a little bit with the remastered game. We'll have to wait and see. According to that article we talked about earlier in the video, it sounds like they're not going to. Bandolier also wasn't a bad option. I usually ran Bandolier on my M16 class just because you do a lot of killing and not dying. And then Bomb Squad, nobody really used that. Next up, we've got perk 2. Stopping Power and Juggernaut, baby. Holy cow, what a throwback. We haven't seen these things in a very long time, but man, do I miss them. So Stopping Power was the choice for most people. Most classes were going to use Stopping Power, especially things like the M16, the M40A3, stuff like that. Juggernaut wasn't a bad option. It was definitely the least popular out of the two, but you know, things like the Jug MP5 or even the Jug P90 were really, really good. Sleight of Hand, Double Tap, Overkill, UAV Jammer, Sonic Boom. Nobody really used those. Like, if you weren't using Stopping Power or Juggernaut, you were at a big, big disadvantage. Some people would use Sonic Boom, and then they'd also run the 3x frag with it, which, you know, obviously made him even more powerful. But, you know, for the most part, in perk 2, people use Stopping Power or Jug. Finally, for perk 3, let's finish this off. Extreme Conditioning. I actually use this from time to time. It wasn't the best option, though. Steady Aim was all right. Last Stand. Yes, Last Stand is a perk in this game, but I don't know. It's not too bad. Martyrdom drops a grenade when you die that blows up 2.5 seconds later. Kind of funny. A lot of from the grave kills. Back in the day, it was kind of annoying when you got killed by it, but, you know, I mean, now that we're not playing that game all the time anymore, I kind of look back and think it was kind of funny. Deep Impact was actually really, really good, especially on maps like Bog. Sitting up on that, the trash pile in the middle of the map with an M16, shooting into the enemy team spawn through the wall, deep impacting them. Oh my gosh, so many good memories. Iron Lungs, nobody really used, didn't need it. Dead Silence, obviously good for things like Search and Destroy, just like it is now. And then finally, Eavesdrop. I miss Eavesdrop. Eavesdrop, if you were close to enemies, you could hear them when they were talking to their teammates in game. And back in the COD4 days, a lot more people used their headsets. So this is kind of funny. You'll see this used in a lot of like COD4 trolling videos and stuff like that. It definitely wasn't like a competitive type perk. Like, you wouldn't choose this perk to try to do better than the enemy. You know, there are other perks that were better suited for that, but it was kind of fun. And I guess technically it was almost like Sixth Sense in a way in Black Ops 3, because it kind of let you know when you were close by the enemies. So yeah, there you guys have it. That, my friends, is Call of Duty 4 in a nutshell. Like I said earlier, this game is just super, super simple, and I think that's why all of us miss it so much. I mean, you chose a primary, you chose a sidearm, you got a frag, you chose one of 3 special grenades, you chose your 3 perks, and that was it. Like, your score streaks were already chosen for you. Well, technically, there were kill streaks back then. So 3 kills is a UAV, 5 kills is the airstrike, and 7 kills is the helicopter. Everything else is just super straightforward. There aren't 50 different lethal and tactical grenades to choose from. There aren't 20 different score streaks to choose from. There aren't wild cards. There aren't, you know, all of these other complications that, you know, while it does make Call of Duty what it is today, technically they're not really necessary. And I think it's going to be fun later this year to go back in time and see what COD was like back in the day, back when it was simple. And I think it'll be interesting to see what we think about it after we play it. You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be simple and fantastic like we all hope it's going to be? Or is it going to be so simple that our, like, now accustomed to ADD minds want more? I don't know. I've got a feeling we're all going to absolutely love it. And I absolutely cannot wait. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thumbs up if you guys are still here at the end of the video. Really appreciate you. And I'll catch you guys later. Check out these tips on the screen. Seen yet? Peace out, guys.